How's it going, everyone? Man, has it been a crazy day one of free agency, and it's not even the true official free agency. It's just day one of the tampering period. But a lot went on today, and it was definitely a roller coaster of emotions. So to start off, the Packers had a couple of big signings and a couple of big releases. Starting the day off, they announced that David Bahktiari was officially getting released. This move was pretty much expected since we weren't going to absorb his $40 million cap hit this season, and it was expected that he was most likely going to get released or, at the very low probability, restructure his contract. But his release pretty much was a given at this current point in time. So the Packers officially released him after 11 seasons, and according to Pro Football Focus, in his time in Green Bay, Bahktiari allowed 32 sacks and 234 pressures across 5,757 pass blocking snaps during the regular season and postseason with the Packers, and he allowed one sack every 180 pass blocking snaps, which is just ridiculous to read. And unfortunately, with that knee injury that he sustained in 2020, I feel like pretty much altered his career, because if he didn't injure that knee, he probably would have still been a Packer with how well he still played, even with that injury. But unfortunately, he got injured and his career changed. Now, Bahktiari has said this is pretty much not going to be his retirement, and he plans on playing more football in the future. So I would expect him to probably get reunited with Aaron Rodgers over at the New York Jets, as that's most likely his destination. Now, moving along through the day, their first hour is pretty quiet on the Packers front, nothing really happening, and that's kind of something we've been used to. And about an hour later, going around 2 o'clock, we get a report that Darnell Savage is going to be signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars and wouldn't be returning to the Packers. His deal ended up being 3 years for $30 million, so $10 million per year, and I could see why the Packers wouldn't want to match that. They had some interest, but not a lot of interest. They were just like, yeah, I mean, if you want to come back, but if you leave, kind of vibe to it. So he officially left. It's not really a player where we were gung-ho about losing, so not a real loss, especially since we were probably going to try to change the back end of our defense. Then, literally just a few minutes later, we get another tweet from Ian Rappaport saying that the Packers are expected to sign Josh Jacobs, and subsequently we get word that we are signing Josh Jacobs, which was pretty much the start of the shock for the Packers. Like, Josh Jacobs, we were all focused on safety. I know I was focused on safety, and out of nowhere, we're signing Josh Jacobs. And it just sounded amazing, getting the 2022 NFL rushing leader, pair him with Aaron Jones. We're going to have the biggest running back tandem. Ian Rappaport initially said, hey, Aaron Jones is going to be retained, and this looked amazing. And for Josh Jacobs' contract, we ended up signing him for 4 years worth $48 million. Now, the first year, he's going to make $14.8 million, and then the next 3 years are kind of like options for the Packers, depending on how he plays. If he doesn't do well, the Packers can cut him, and it won't cost too much towards the Packers. Or they can keep him if he does well, convert some of his base salary next year into a signing bonus and lower the cap room. There are options where this contract is actually pretty friendly to the Packers. Then moving along as the day progressed, we get more word that another free agent or unrestricted free agent that the Packers did not sign back, that is offensive lineman Jon Runyan. There were reports that there was mutual interest between the Packers and Jon Runyan returning. That wasn't the case, and he ended up signing with the New York Giants, and, well, he's no longer going to be a Packer. But then shortly after that, we get probably even a bigger shock of the Josh Jacobs signing, and that was the Packers are deciding to release Aaron Jones, which we're wondering what the heck's going on, because we just received word that, hey, we're going to keep both of them. Gutekunst has clearly stated that he's going to be back this year. And out of nowhere, Aaron Jones is getting informed that he's going to be released. Word did come out a lot later that apparently the Packers, after they signed Josh Jacobs, asked him to take a pay cut. And that pay cut was at least 50% of what he was currently making. And Aaron Jones said no. And after that, talks broke down, and they pretty much informed him that he was going to get released, especially since they've already signed Josh Jacobs, which is very gut-wrenching. And so with that, a very short-lived, it probably lasted an hour or two, of potentially one of the best running back tandems in the NFL this season, upcoming season, has already been separated. So Aaron Jones will end his career as a Packer. He ends up being number 3 in franchise history in both rushing yards and 100-yard rushing games, and number 4 in rushing touchdowns. And this move seems like a bad move considering what Aaron Jones meant to this team and the community. And it just seems like he was a player that should have had the asterisk of, we keep this man no matter what. But Gutekunst is staying firm, making the tough decisions, because he has to know that releasing Aaron Jones was going to be one of the most unpopular moves to happen this season. And he still made it. So hopefully this doesn't bite us in the butt. And we wish Aaron Jones well in the future, as long as he doesn't sign with the Vikings, because there's a lot of reports that he's talking with the Vikings. I hate you, Vikings, for real. I swear to God, if you sign them. And then now moving on later, as we're all down in our feelings because we just released Aaron Jones, who is probably one of the most loved Packers in recent history, it feels like. And we make the biggest splash in free agency and sign safety Xavier McKinney, which there were a lot of talks that we're going to be in the market for safety. And we have a lot of interest in the top safety, Xavier McKinney. But to actually go out there and do it is something Packers don't typically do. Even back in when Gutekunst took over for us back in 2018, yes, we did sign both Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith and Adrian Amos, but we did kind of wait a little bit until we signed them. But we actually went out there and grabbed the best safety in the free agency market to help turn that safety group into a weakness into a strength. And this was probably the best safety for Jeff Hafley's system. They went out there and got him, and they paid a lot of money. Initially, it was reported that before free agency started that his average per year would probably be around $13 million, and it's so much more than that. He officially signs a 4-year deal worth $68 million. They went out and paid that man to make sure no other team got him. And that once again brought us back up to the highs. Like, yes, we're still in our feelings about Aaron Jones, but we got Xavier McKinney, so we can dance in tears. It was I'm emotionally drained at this point. And so with all that, I know earlier in the day I did say that even if I do see Xavier McKinney signing with us, that we still have Wednesday to make it official, just to make sure. The way Xavier McKinney is kind of talking like he's a Packer and officially a Packer and all about being a Packer pretty much on his Instagram, I think it's a little bit safe to say that he's going to be a Packer. So I could celebrate a little bit. So the Green Bay Packers make 2 big splash signings in free agency in day 1 of the legal tampering period, but in turn release 2 of they're going to be future Packer Hall of Famers. One of them we expected in David Bahktiari, and the other came and slapped me in my face because I did not see it coming. And we released Aaron Jones. So that part sucks. But that's just day 1 of free agency. We'll see what happens in day 2 and how more aggressive the Packers want to be. But let me know what you think down in the comments. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, go Pack Go.